Good evening, viewers. Welcome once again to another edition of the Business Forum. This is a special edition called the GCCI at 50 Business Forum. We want to thank those that attended the forum, but for those of you that were not there, this is your opportunity to get a glimpse of what transpired. And it was attended by the Chief Executive Officer, GCCI, Mr. Ali Useka, GCCI past President, Mr. Abdoulaye Touré, and the Honorable Minister of Trade. We want to take this opportunity again to thank everybody that participated.
This session, I'm not sure we can keep in 30 minutes, but we will try, is how businesses can lead the way to bridging the gender equity gap and to improve youth employment. However, I must say it is rather unfortunate that the Honorable Minister of Trade could not sit in also for this one, like she did with the other past sessions. But again, we will try and do justice to this theme. Let me start by introducing the gender equity part. Sometime in 2016, I believe November to be more precise, I was privileged to be part of a delegation that left from Banjul to Panama to attend the Gender Equity Seal. And what that seal, which is highly successful now in the southern part of America, what that seal talks about and what that seal encourages is to improve work environments for women to be able to increase productivity and performance, overall performance. And factors and incentives such as flexi hours were introduced. Creches like daycare, mini daycare centers in workplaces were introduced and were talked about in that part of the world. Another factor that can help with gender equity or bridging that gap is access to finance. And evidence has proved, especially recently by the World Bank group, that more than 1 billion women already still do not have adequate access to the financial system. It says that without access to finance, women face difficulties in collecting and saving income, growing their businesses, and this is for the entrepreneurs who are very heavily represented here today, which we are very proud of. Thank you, women entrepreneurs, for being here today with us. As a result of these inadequacies, women remain largely excluded from the formal economy, which is a huge shame. I don't want to preempt this meeting. Therefore, I will do nothing other than introduce my distinguished panelists today, starting with my immediate left. Mrs. Nene Touré is representing here the Women's Bureau, and she's the Assistant Director for Information, Education, and Communication. She's already worked in the public sector for 10 years, 9 years of which she has done with the Women's Bureau. Her areas of work and intervention within the unit that she works for concentrate on advocacy, sensitization, and popularization of policies and laws. On my immediate right, I have Sering Modunjai, the proprietor and CEO of Hadim Consultancy and Study Abroad. Hadim, prior to establishing his startup, interned for a mining company in Sierra Leone called Superlarge Gems and Metal. Before that, he came straight out of Marina High School and started internship in Sierra Leone. The services for Hadim Consultancy and Study Abroad include university placements, scholarship searches, career counseling, and visa applications, amongst a few. But they will elaborate more on this. And I now have the pleasure to invite Mrs. Touré to deliver her statement.
Thank you very much, Sarata. Good afternoon, everyone here present. First of all, I would like to extend the apologies of the Executive Director of the Women's Bureau, who would have loved to be here with you people this afternoon. But due to other pressing official issues, She is supposed to attend another women forum in Uganda, and she is leaving this afternoon. That was why she is unable to be here. As Sarata has clearly stated, it is no secret that small businesses and entrepreneurship create job opportunities in many countries and many spheres of life, and the Gambia being no exception. Small businesses also help countries globally because they often bring innovations and productivity, most of which women we know are involved in. In this country, most of the small businesses are being headed by women who are creating a lot of employment opportunities, but yet still they don't yield back the benefits of the efforts they are putting into their businesses. Hence, in this country, where women constitute more than 52% of the population and are mainly engaged in the informal sector, especially in agriculture and agricultural production and productivity. It is known that facts lack the environment where women, their small businesses, and the businesses don't grow because of certain reasons. Sarata has highlighted one key important one, which is access to finance. Why do they access the finance? The collaterals, issue of collaterals, high interest rate, and some of them don't even know the doors to knock. Even if they knock the doors, yet still people don't have the courage to finance their businesses. It is also proven that female entrepreneurs can make the difference. Many have to jungle up with the aspiration of going into their businesses, yet still faced with challenging of having to take along family responsibilities, communal responsibilities, area responsibilities, together with other issues. But institutions have realized that whenever women say they're going to do it, they mean to do it. That's why nowadays institutions are feeling comfortable to invest their money into women and youths. They are the backbone of the society. If they are empowered, if their businesses move, they will create a lot of employment. Because the first thing the woman thinks of is the family. Who are the family members? The youth, the men, the country at large. Entrepreneurship, particularly women entrepreneurs, are important to economic development. Why? Because they benefit society greater and they improve the economic of their countries. The Gambia, like many sub-Saharan African countries, where women entrepreneurs contribute greatly to the livelihood of the country, also create a lot of employment. But yet still, as we've said it, they are faced with a series of challenges. Challenges of knowledge, skills, adequate finance, together with other issues such as violence against women, especially in workplaces and the business environment. The issue of gender-based violence hinders the progress and gender equality gap in business and employment creation for a lot of women. Because sometimes even women, when they employ men in their businesses, those men tend to challenge them even in the aspect that they are in authority. And we have less women in decision making, even if they have their own money and they are investing it. Women participate in the formal sector in this country, and they constitute more than 80% of the private informal sector of this country, and more up to 90% of the informal sector in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. And if they are not given the opportunities to produce and enhance their productivity. That means the development we're going to have in the sub-Saharan Africa and in this country in particular will be very minimal. In an attempt to address all these major challenges, the Gambia has developed several policies, instruments to create opportunities for small-scale micro-investment sector. And most of the people involved in this private sector are the poor women and the youths. And these things include the National Strategic Framework for the Development of Microfinance, the Gambia National Policy for SMEs, and the National Export Strategy of 2013 to 2017, and the MSME Marketing Strategy of 2014 to 2018, all of which have taken huge strategic steps to end poverty in this country. In conclusion, with the advent of all these instruments over the years, more women are now given the opportunity to lead, and in fact, some of them are managing major businesses in this country. But it will be very difficult if we only concentrate not only on finance, but there is need for more education, training, linkages for small business holders with major entrepreneurs. Because we have few women who are high on top when it comes to entrepreneurship and getting the finance and what they need. But if we are able to link them up with the young ones coming up, especially the youths, it is going to pay dividend in this country. But I will put it here, the banking sector is here, everybody is here. Women are faced with the challenge of finance. Financing is a problem. In fact, the whole of this week we were on a training for women entrepreneurs from Gambia, Senegal, and Sierra Leone. And one of the key things coming out every day from that meeting is finance for women entrepreneurs. They need the skills, they need the education, they need the moral support, the technical support, and the financial support. If that one is being able to give to them, it will close the gender gap and create employment for both women and youths in this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Nana. You've made my job so much easier. I think you will all agree with me. We live in an era where we now belong to an exciting and promising time where females and males already and will continue to be considered for equally considered for leadership positions. I think we've had the opportunity to see Fatou Mergan, who was here with us this morning. We know Mrs. Sala. Fat Njai of Atlas is also here with us, and I think all of us can share some of our experiences of how it has been on these journeys. I will now hand over the microphone to Seding Modou Njai, who will also discuss and share with us his experiences on improving youth unemployment in the country here, and what his company or his new enterprise aims to do, and his new plans also.
All right, I am very honored and privileged to talk in the midst of this gathering. And the perspective I would take here is more of the perspective of a youth-led enterprise, because I myself became an entrepreneur at a very young age. I had the chance to, after finishing my high school in 2013, to leave for Sierra Leone. I was a student at Quebec International School, whereby I spent about 2 years rotating as an internship job with a mining company that gave me the experience of the sub-region. I had the chance to travel to countries like Nigeria, Guinea-Conakry, go deep down villages, places where you see the rural area at its prime stage, where you see women doing more than what we just described, but the hard work they put into building up homes and families in Africa. Now, starting from that perspective, we see that the potential both the youth and women have for our nations are key. When you look at the overall setup of the world, you have countries like South Korea, Argentina, Germany, top economies, we would say, being led by women and head of states who have both the intellectual baggage and what it takes to make that difference. And also in the youth-led part, we've seen that in Africa, the youthful population is the driving growth of the economy. And age should not be a factor that will deprive you from achieving your goals or getting to where you want to be. Because right after my experience when I came back home to do my A-levels at Marina, I realized that there was a gap that we had in the educational sector. We have companies that obviously do abroad studies, but we came with a new perspective, with what we call a custom-tailored service, whereby we will go to homes, we will talk to parents who are not even educated and tell them about the education and the importance of educating their kids towards that development. We've had encounters with traditional families, whereby you will see in a particular setting, maybe led by this father who will not even send the girls abroad for school. But then I had this experience with one of them who was a merchant in Banjul. I remember by then I just started business, so I just took a town trip. I went to Banjul and talked to this man who had a daughter who was at the American University, very smart daughter and then she was into accounting and finance and all of that. So the father was like, because of his cultural background, he would not just send his daughter abroad because he believed that if they go there, maybe the Islam will go away or something like that. So then I was able to convince him to go for a destination like Malaysia, because this is one of our main destinations where we have very good links. We know that it's an Islamic destination, one, and then it offers the perspective of those people coming back, because after school, obviously, they will not stay there because there's no environment that will put them towards getting a job after graduation. So putting the point that he was old and then he controlled a business that is worth millions of dollars, but at the end of the day, each of his sons will end up maybe having their own family or doing their own things. And then this daughter of his was so close to him that he could actually interrelate. And when he understood my point, I was quite surprised. He just asked me how much was the tuition fees. I told him about $10,000 US. He called me and asked me how many years will the course take. Someone who never went to school. And I was like 3 years. So he calculated everything and he was like, okay, she needs a budget of $30,000. I trust you. Tomorrow come, get the money, start the process and get it done. And today she's in her second year of a Bachelor in Accountancy and Finance honors from Staffordshire University in Manchester. This just shows you that we have the capability or the ability to change the minds. Because if I'm able to change that mindset from somebody who is strict in the line, somebody who you will see as these old people who don't have that level of education, but then he realized the importance of that education and he gave it the due credit. And we've seen stories like that because over the years we've over 50 students in less than 2 years placed abroad in Malaysia, Cyprus, US, Canada, many different countries. And they've been making an impact. Because our Gambian students are always commended. One, in Malaysia, they were able to place themselves in the top 1% of their classes, some of it in the engineering class. We had 2 twins. They were girls also, very smart. And in my line of work, every day when I meet up with clients, I make observations because it's very important. And I've seen that at the rate at which we're going, well, women are beating us. Basically, you will see some of them with 7, 8 A's. Even in the morning, I just received the result. I was quite impressed with an A1 in further math. And then you see this is someone with a potential, but maybe might just need that scholarship or that little push up to get there. So therefore, we try to link with institutions. Over the years, we've been trying so hard to talk to higher education, even if from this panel we can have some more assistance. Because we have destinations whereby we know even if they don't get a full tuition scholarship, the government could still push. Because you're looking at tuition fees of €3,000, €4,000, which is less than $200,000, which is easily consumed into administrative charge or buying expensive cars or other things that we clearly see. Why not putting it in the education of 5, 6, or even 10 Gambian youth, being female or being male, but making that difference? We can also call up on the private institution, because the plan is, why not coming up as a forum, talking to the companies in the private sector, talking to the companies in the public sector, coming as a public-private partnership and financing those students we've identified. I get cases whereby I'm not even able to charge consultation fees because I know the situation these kids are going through, coming from Batakunku, coming from the upper region, coming from URR. You see, it's not only about the Combo region or the top schools we have. We have people who are in the upper region and still scoring 9 credits, but yet still not even having the opportunity to go to simple UTG or MDI. If we can start there, even before abroad, then it will make a big impact or a big difference. And my company is a young one, but we already implemented in Dakar. We're opening our office in Conakry in the 15th of November, and we are hitting hard. We don't have any limitations. So we believe that the age is not something that matters, but it's the mindset. And to change the mindset of Gambian youth, we want to use education in order to bridge the continents together. And we've been trying to do it as much as we're concerned. We've been able to identify problems, issues, we've gathered databases, and if the institution just give us a little push, I'm not talking about a lot, because on ourselves we've made some money and then we're putting it aside and then we have projects to help back the nation. But then we need that bigger push in order to make that change or that impact. And we've seen the institution with the new government, with the new movements, because I myself was part of the Gambia Has Decided movement, and I was here in the inception of this revolution that happened. But then again, we need to go further. It's not just about changing the institution, but it's about revamping them and making a total impact and leading towards one way that will make that change, not on the overall of Gambia, but on the overall of the West African region and at large of the overall of Africa. If we have a country like Mauritius today being granted 131 entries worldwide, why Gambian passport could not get such? Just because we need to make that economical impact to be like a Mauritius or be like a Seychelles Island, though just based on tourism. But then again, they're having double or triple the income we are earning on our own tourist sector. The same way when we go to education, a country like Gambia should not lack universities. We have the University of the Gambia, but even to have a working website, it's an issue. I had a student who was supposed to apply for a master's course. He was denied admission based on the fact that the university website was down. The admission department told me, we do not trust the reliability of the university since even the website of the university is not working. These are things we need to highlight and not shy away from because of X, Y, or Z political reason. It's not about the political aspect here, but it's about the developmental and the impact that we will make in those generations that will lead tomorrow. Because we've made the change, we've asked for it, but now it's time to impact it and empower the youth in such a way that they will be able to be at the key stage of the building of our nation. Nobody will do it for us. It's not because I am from Gambia that I don't stand in a high position. I was invited in Malaysia in a conference where I had over 137 agents who all were above the age of 35. I was only 21, and then I am the agent of Asia Pacific University who had one of the highest number within a year. We have 23 Gambian students in a school that charges almost $13,500 a year, and yet still we are claiming that our country is not developed. Then where does it lie? We have people, we have people that control this economy. We have top rankers, we have people who have the means and the finance, and then they are doing it. And if we see that, why not us? We should not wait for the government or ask what they can do for us, but rather we should take the Kennedy's approach and ask ourselves what we can do for our country in order to make that change and that impact go viral, but just not with a hashtag. It can be with doing the act, not just talking about it, but making sure it's implemented and well done. So that's what I had to say and what I had to share on both perspectives. Let's empower women, let's empower the youth, because they are the building block of all societies, not only the African one, but the world at large. And all successful nations have proven and shown that women could make big differences. If you look at the Europe, the USA, even behind every great man, you always have a great woman. So we need to think about these things and make sure we become not only the little smiling coast, but that smiling coast that makes an impact in the worldwide world and clearly shows where we stand in every single aspect, being education, social, political, cultural, because the Senegambian region alone has one of the most beautiful and advanced culture in the world. We need to promote it. we need to go beyond just the message that we are sending, but make an impact, as I said, in every single individual here. And I hope that message I'm just passing on, as little as it is, will make you think tomorrow about what alternatives, what perspective, and what things you need to do. Being 1, 2, 3, 4, as far as you do it, you will make that change. As far as you believe in it, you will make that change. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanamudu. I think your story was very encouraging indeed. I encourage other youth startups here today, or other youth businesses. I see Rose Afrique, I see KMF Technologies, I see a lecture group, and they can all perhaps share their experiences today if time permits. Our experience at GCCI, let me just talk very briefly on that before I open the floor for Q&A. We have about 70% more women compared to men at GCCI. It used to be more. We used to have 80 to 85%, perhaps even more. Now we have 70. It means we have now more men to pick up things behind us. They pick up the load when we have trade fairs, they do the construction. In management, we have more women, again, than men, at an average age of 40 years, which is impressive. So what we've started now, and I'm very happy to announce in the presence of my CEO, that we are now going to introduce, or he started listening to the idea of flexi hours, so that women can go home or be at home, because everybody knows not only do you take care of the young, but our elderly are taken care of more so by women. Even our in-laws, when they get older, it's your responsibility. So when you're at home and you're in an environment where you know everything is being taken care of, we want to sample whether we can also equally be as productive and meet our deliverables and targets, and see if that works for us. So again, let me be more specific. He is listening. I haven't said he's concluded on it, but he is listening. And for that, I think we're very fortunate to be in that type of workplace. I encourage more. The gender seal will be rolled out between GCCI, the UNDP, Women's Bureau, Office of the Vice President, and Women's Affairs. And we'll be talking more to banks, to small startups, and to businesses like insurance companies to do more and more to encourage more women in leadership roles. I will now open the floor for Q&A, and we will start with, I will start with Rose and then KO, and I saw a third hand. Umi.
My name is Rose. I'm the founder of Rose Afrique. And basically what Rose Afrique does is rebrand, recycle, and customize products using the African. So I said, before they throw it out, I could do something with this bag. And then I thought of the African, why not promote the African race? So by doing so, I then used the African wax print, cover these bags and shoes again, and give it to them. So instead of throwing it away, we're now cleaning the environment and also reusing these things instead of spending more into buying more of these bags and shoes. But currently, after Rose Afrique is actually a year old, and it was a year old on October 18th, which was the same day as my birthday. Oh. Yes. Yes, and after a year, I realized for a while I thought I've been doing this all alone, and it's hectic, and the demand is already high. So I thought, why not engage my co-youths into this trade as well? So I spoke with few young girls that I know that have completed high school but currently not doing anything apart from being home the whole day. So I spoke with them. I asked them, why not come join me, be part of my team. What I'll do is help you, teach you what I do, especially the handmade products, because most of these products are actually handmade. And I've got a couple of notebooks here with me. Protect taught me to use the unusual opportunity, so that's what I'm going to do. So I have a few of my notebooks here, and actually all of these notebooks were done by these 14 young ladies. So I have 14 young girls that come to my house, because I'm currently working with Royal Insurance and it's full-time. So I only have Saturday and Sundays to myself. So I engage these young girls, they come to my house on Saturdays, and the youngest is actually 9 years old. So 14 of them come week in, week out, so all I can do is currently just give them transportation, because I honestly can't pay them a salary yet. So doing that, they so appreciate it, and they always look forward to Saturday. They call me, Auntie Rose, I hope you're not going out this Saturday. I said, no, I'll be home. So I thought to myself, I'm not being selfish. I have the idea, I have the creativity in me, and I'm good with my hands. So why not share this with other young ladies? And if you follow my Facebook page, Rose Africa also, you will see a lot of my designs, and I just feel glad in me when these young girls are working. The environment is healthy, we crack jokes, we call each other names, but at the end of the day, it's a happy environment. They're learning from me, and when they go home also, they teach their siblings, and the trend continues. So I just want to seize this opportunity to thank all of you, and I hope you all support things made in the Gambia and made by young entrepreneurs. Thank you.
In my bank here, my exco is made up of 60% women, and about 35-40% men. Majority of the people on the executive committee, that work with me are ladies. But beyond that, as a group and as a bank, we have a policy of flexi hours where, let's face it, with IT today, as long as you can plug into the bank's systems with tools like VPN, Cisco Connect, and co, you can work from anywhere, and you're available by phone. Provided, of course, your job is not that job wherein you must be in the office. You can actually do what you're doing from the house, and so we have encouraged that a lot. There was a situation of a lady who got married, and the husband was in the UK and she was here, and they never discussed where they're going to stay, and the husband was putting pressure on her that, look, come over, and she said she just could not, and the marriage was virtually breaking down. So I allowed her to go and work in the UK for 3 months. Perfect. The marriage, perfect, was, everything went very well. And she was doing her work from the UK. She could have been doing it from Bigelow, or Bruceby, and she was turning around the work as fast as whether she was here or she was in the UK. So one of my ESCO members right now, I realize that when she's working from home, I get a faster turnaround when she's at home than when she's in the office.
Stay home and do it.
So let us actually encourage them with IT and the tools we have. You can actually have a win-win for the woman or the youth who is actually working from home or working from the office. You can have a win-win. She'll save her family and save her career. Thank you.
My name is Misise and I work at Discovery Tours. It's in tourism. But today I would like to speak on behalf of women entrepreneurs. During the previous discussion, I wanted to involve or engage the representative from the central bank, Mr. Jame, and MD from Standard Chartered. Because I did not, unless I missed it, I did not hear much on microfinance or microcredit. It's good to hear of the reforms and interest and reduction in the lending rates, which is excellent for small enterprises and medium-scale enterprises. But for women entrepreneurs with low income and youth with startup businesses, these lending rates are not affordable. And I hope we don't overlook the impact that microfinance institutions have on being valuable economic tools. Women entrepreneurs with low income cannot afford or cannot, cannot afford the lending rates or will not be able to live up to the expectations of conventional business finances. And it is true that the conventional financial institutions like bank offer larger lending amounts, but it is a fact that microfinance institutions contribute a lot to progressive growth, and they also really help to build up the weakest parts of the economy. Mr. Mboop was trying to focus on the risk while Mr. Nyai didn't want any mention of risk, but we have to admit, and it's a fact, that women are more risk averse. Because if you're giving a loan and you know you have to feed the family, you're going to try your best to make sure that you successfully use that amount of money. So I hope we'll be more open to that. And I'm sure most people are also aware of the proliferation of microcredit institutions in Senegal. Let's take Senegal as an institution. And it is a fact, according to IMF, that there are more account holders at microfinance institutions in Senegal than at the conventional financial institutions. So if that's happening in Senegal, how about we try to recreate and copy from our neighbors? And also, the lives of a lot of people in remote areas are positively affected in Senegal due to the availability of microfinance institutions all the way to Kédougou. So in Gambia as well, why don't we try to emulate such activities? And ultimately, we cannot have sustainable development without positively touching on the lives of the most vulnerable. In the Gambia, it's the youths and women entrepreneurs with low income. Thank you.
Microfinance is the missing piece. You know, we need a framework and a policy to drive microfinance institutions. You know, encourage private investors to come into microfinance and set up these institutions. Because down there at that level, where the smallholder farmer, you know, just wants to borrow even as low as $500, $1,000, they can actually get it down there. And experience has shown that women are largest customers of the microfinance banks, one, and two, their default rate is extremely low. It's about 2%. Their payback is about 98%. You know, and they are more disposed to forming cooperatives, you know, to drive volume. And at the end of the day, it's a win-win for the petty traders or cottage industries as well as the microfinance industries. It's a missing link that I believe we should plug, you know, in terms of driving microfinance banks, you know, because they can actually reach out to the hinterlands and the provinces even much more than the commercial banks. So it's something that is critical. I'm not sure if the CBG representative is still here, but if he's here or if he's not here, I think it's something that we should move and propose greatly.
CBG recognizes the importance of microfinance institutions, and as such, microfinance institutions really drive growth in the rural areas, and by extension, they play a key part in financial inclusion. And in that respect, the CBG has actually strengthened the Non-Financial Institution Act. It was enacted in 2016, and it is working on strengthening the act by aligning the current guidelines with the guidelines with the act, and along that line, we are hoping that the sector would be to strengthen the microfinance institutions, especially in the rural areas, has seen a lot of issues in terms of these visakas, and they were faced with a lot of problems. I actually don't work in the microfinance department, but what I do know for a fact is that these institutions have faced a lot of problems because the institutions were not well managed. So in this regard, the central bank is now, strengthening the regulations and guidelines and making sure that the sector develops and thrives on. This is the current position of the central bank. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Sekuba Tamba, representative of Fly with Africa. Fly with Africa is also a new startup business in the Gambia, and we are very glad to associate ourselves with this forum. On behalf of the company, I would like to commend GCCI for coming with this wonderful idea of bringing its stakeholders together and celebrating its 50 years anniversary. Thank you, GCCI. Fly with Africa in brief was an asset management company that was set up in 2014. We are currently having a fleet of aircrafts, up to 14 aircrafts, and these aircrafts are leased to various airline companies all over the world. We turned into an airline company in 2015, and we currently fly in only one aircraft, but we fly within the sub-region. Our desire to associate with this forum and the GCCI is to unveil the products and services that we are currently having in the market, in the sub-regional market. I want to take this opportunity to inform everybody that we have a special product for businesses and corporations. Businesses and corporations can have a lot of benefits with us, especially when they travel, because we know that for a fact, the statistics are there. The majority of travelers within this sub-region are corporate travelers and government travelers. So we have developed a special strategic product for this type of potential customers. So if any of you want to travel, I will encourage you to come. If you want to do business with us, I'm encouraging you to come to our office. We can have an agreement, and then we sign the agreement, and then you'll be benefiting from our special discounts that we have for you. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you very much for watching this segment of the forum. We'll be back again next week with another segment of this special edition of the GCCI at 50 Forum. I'm your host, Beatrice Mboj, saying good night.